If Matiang'i had chosen the latter, if he had chosen to come in a big way, my friend, this country would have caught fire. His campaign will be fire. If Matiang'i had chosen to be welcomed at the airport, I'm telling you, it would not even have required organization. You see, Gachagua is a man I would not want to be my opponent in any game. Yeah. If Gachagua decides to run, perhaps I'm the only Kenyan who is seeing this thing. Many Kenyans are saying, Gachagua cannot run. Gachagua. My friend, me, if I were Ruto or any opposition candidate, the only threat I'll be looking at is the Gachagua threat.
Very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're here with us for this conversation. So I'm here with Professor Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
Good.
Let's talk about the former cabinet secretary, of course, is dubbed as the Super CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i.
Yes.
I was talking to a number of friends and they're saying that it seems like the euphoria that was expected from the candidacy of Fred Matiang'i has actually died. And right now, when you were even mentioning potential presidential candidates as we get towards 2027, his name is somehow distant, far. What do you make of this particular situation? Why is he not being felt on the ground? Is it that it's not time yet, or rather there would be some mistakes that he made that would be responsible for this right now?
I think there was some anticlimax of sorts. There was so much expected from Matiang'i, but when he came, something went wrong. Yeah, people had such high expectations, but when he came around, people looked, he's not the Matiang'i they had been talking about. There were two different Matiang'is. So for that reason, I think he's no longer part of the national conversation. Yeah, I don't know whether he will change. He can change. That's the problem when expectations are so high. There was so much in terms of expectation. Everybody was talking about Matiang'i. Wherever I went was Matiang'i. Western Matiang'i, Mount Kenya, everywhere. Gen Zs, everybody was talking about Matiang'i. So he needed to have been careful when he came back. He needed to have landed to fulfill the expectations, to fit into the expectations. And I think what he ought to have done was to come just to confirm that there was no other candidate Kenyans were looking for. That's what he was supposed to do. I could have shared that with him, perhaps, I don't know. I can't remember well. He needed just to come to confirm that this is the Matiang'i you have been waiting for. And immediately all other candidates would become pretenders, not candidates. He was supposed to come and rise above them, so that when you look on the political horizon, you only see Matiang'i. I think that was such a tall order. I don't blame him. Not having been a politician, it was too much for him. He couldn't handle it.
Is it too early for Kenyans to expect him to stand out among the opposition leaders who we have right now?
Now he's going to compete with the rest. For him, it wasn't competing. He was already ahead of the pack. Yeah, people were not putting him on the same level with all these other politicians. They had put him there. Kalonzo was here. Look at where Kalonzo is. He was there. Others were lower. He needed to go higher or maintain. Instead, he came back to the level of these others. That's how politics works. It's more about perception than reality. He came, went to TV station. He didn't fight. The things he's saying today are the things he should have said on that TV interview. He put on his gloves and was punching softly on the first TV interview he had. Now he realized it didn't work. Now he's trying to say things. He should have said those things. When people ask him about security and Murkom, he ought to have dismissed him.
So meaning at that time he should have gone hard, very hard.
He needed to consult
on
people. He needed to consult people who understand this country and the politics and media. And he didn't do that. he talked to busybodies. And now see the disaster he's brought.
Okay.
There are people who are there to help him understand the terrain and how to come. Yeah. You see, another problem Matiang'i had was niwachilie, nisiwachilie, the Kalonzo problem. You see vile Gachagua anawachilia, ana-inject tu. Kenyans wataka mtu wa kuinject tu. Ruto was just injecting his president. Raila just injects. You see the space he occupies. So Matiang'i and Kalonzo do not seem to understand Kenyan politics. You inject. Hapana shika break. Hawa anashika break. Sasa Matiang'i alikuja na break mingi. Hand break na ile ingine ya foot break. Yani zozote anaweka break zote. Anaenda kidogo gari anakanyaga break. Unaona Gachagua akishika break, hata gari yake haina break. Iko na break. Na ndio Kenya wanataka mtu kama huyo.
But maybe Matiang'i was aware of you see the kind of stuff that happened to him before he left for the US back then.
So if you fear
a
that,
little bit of intimidation here
but
and there.
If you fear that, then why would you go for the presidency? The president's job is the riskiest job. The moment you become president, you have your death certificate working with it here. You are the most unsafe person in the country. So how would you fear death? Death and the presidents are one and the same. There are some jobs by their nature, they are just dangerous. Even being a judge. The things a judge does on the bench exposes them to danger. So if you fear that danger, don't become a judge. If you fear danger, if you fear you'll be intimidated, then why do you want to go for the presidency? Stop. Go for that. There are many things. But the beauty for Matiang'i and these other people is that Kenyan politics sometimes doesn't reward the dramatic. So that, hapo kuna ka hope for people like him. Yeah? It doesn't reward the dramatic. You know, the people who follow the Raila line, only Ruto has succeeded to be president. But the rest, Raila and they have never, Matiba, Raila, they have never been president. But the quiet, timid like Kibaki, Moi. So there's still hope for Matiang'i. But he will need to go down, to sit down, accept that he came badly, he did poorly, and ask himself, how can I do it better this time?
Yeah. We saw the very time that he landed here for the first time, he went all the way to his homeland in KC, and a number of analysts castigated him for portraying some sort of a tribal image that has so far been associated with it.
He wasn't quite...
Is that the case? Really?
He wasn't quite sure of what to do. He wasn't sure to get a national reception at the airport, to come quietly. Even this kissy thing was an afterthought. So, where Matiang'i was, he needed a team of people capable of thinking and who understand the political terrain of this country. And before he came, they ought to have had very serious meetings outside this country. And then they would have come back with a program. How do we come with such a high expectations? The sort of man Matiang'i was in the minds of Kenyans, he needed to come either completely quietly, nobody should even know what flight, just come in the country and begin introducing himself to Kenyans, like what Trump did this second round. You do this very, very unconventional media, like platforms like these ones of ours, like Trump was doing, like Twitter with Carlson and people like those, you know.
Yes.
For people to see who you are and not within the context of politics. This is Fred Matiang'i. That's one way. The other way is to do it the Kenyan way and come dramatic. The Raila Matiba style, the Gachagua style, which quite also didn't work very well. If Matiang'i had chosen the latter, if he had chosen to come in a big way, my friend, this country would have caught fire. His campaign will be fire. If Matiang'i had chosen to be welcomed at the airport, I'm telling you, it would not even have required organization. His name was so high up there vijana wangejaa airport, hata sijui hakuna mtu angewastop. No, he would have addressed one of the biggest rallies in Nairobi.
But this also begs a lot of question on these foreign lobby firms that are actually normally contracted by the presidential candidates.
I was talking about that on Radio Generation. Is it Generation Radio?
Yeah, it's called Generation Radio.
This morning. And I was saying, you hear people, even Uhuru Kenyatta, they have contracted UK firms, you hear G what. And they leave people here who understand Kenya. And when you look at what those PR firms are doing, it's very little. Just because they deliver the presidency to somebody in Botswana, doesn't quite. The situation in Botswana is not the Kenyan Botswana. You don't need to waste money on those people. Just look for people in Kenya who understand Kenya and who can sit with you. Not busybodies, not praise singers, not sycophants, not tribesmen, but men and women who understand this country very well. And they are there. I can assemble a team for any person who wants to be president. Yeah. We can assemble teams and sit down with them. And so Matiangi, if I had been Matiangi, I would have come either quietly and introduced myself using very unconventional media. And by the time I'm appearing on Radio Citizen, I don't do it the normal way. I just let Kenyans see this is Matiangi. And this Matiangi is different from your traditional everyday politician. He wants to do something for this country. He's an ordinary Kenyan, a worker. He has the experience, the training. He wants to put that to the disposal of the Kenyan people in a very quiet and a dramatic way. That's number one. Number two, or the second option, come with drama, come with thorax, come with force. Push you away from the airport to Uhuru Park and address a mammoth rally and tell Kenya it's a new dawn. Enough of the things that have destroyed this country. We are moving forward. By now, nobody else will be talking in this country.
What do you actually think is the problem he's actually facing? Is it that, yes, he is a mixed fix it as people see it, and therefore he understands the governance bit of it, but then politics, a little bit naona ikimchenga kidogo?
No, it's your politics. He was not decisive.
Okay. Let's cross over to the other side and look at the what was touted back then, of course, as a support from former President Uhuru Kenyatta. We thought that now that it would be difficult to, I don't know whether that is the situation right now, but then the argument was then that the larger Mount Kenya region would not have a candidate and therefore would support another one. Back then, with the support of former President Uhuru Kenyatta, it was seen as if the entire mountain region would rather rally behind Kalonzo Musyoka, or now, in this case here, Fred Matiang'i. What are his chances still in the mountain?
See, I go back to then, not now. Matiang'i ought to have been aware he was going to get competition from Kalonzo Musyoka.
Yes.
In terms of the Mount Kenya, which will anchor his presidency. His presidency will not be anchored by the Kisi vote. Like Ruto in 2022, he will depend on the Mount Kenya vote. So he was competing for the Mount Kenya votes with Kalonzo Musyoka. He needed to have outpaced Kalonzo as far as Mount Kenya is gone. The bigger danger for him also, he would have known if he had talked to people like Manyora, that Gachagua had his own designs and his own ambition. And he had not hidden the fact that he was coming up with his political party. So he ought to have moved fast enough to claim Mount Kenya with the assistance of Uhuru Kenyatta, so that Gachagua could do his thing, but not undo the fact that Kalonzo and Matiangi or the preferred Mount Kenya candidate. But now with Gachagua now will decide who the person, not even Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah. He ought to have moved with speed to remove Kalonzo Musyoka from the equation and to make Uhuru Kenyatta the person to decide the Mount Kenya vote and not Gachagua. He went slow, he delayed, and he didn't manage any of those two. I'm not saying it's over for him. He still go back to the drawing board. and maybe he'll succeed.
Gachagua said that he is the best candidate actually, ahead of the rest in the loyal
see,
opposition.
now,
How then does that actually complicate the situation for Matiangi?
You see, Gachagua is a man I would not want to be my opponent in any game. Yeah. If Gachagua decides to run, perhaps I'm the only Kenyan who is seeing this thing. Many Kenyans are saying, Gachagua cannot run. Gachagua, my friend, me, if I were Ruto or any opposition candidate, the only threat I'll be looking at is the Gachagua threat. And people say Gachagua can't run, nobody sees Gachagua as a president. Gachagua will run.
So if he runs, what does this mean for Fred Matiangi now that he was actually depending on the...
If he runs, people like Matiangi have nowhere to go and nowhere to hide. They just go back to America and maybe look for another World Bank job. With Gachagua running, it will complicate things for many people. For everybody, actually.
Now that he is back in the country, at least for now, he is within. Is there anything that he can actually change, or is it too late?
Who?
Fred Matiangi. Now
Matiangi will have to go back to the drawing board and see, retrace his steps.
Okay.
Where did he go wrong? Lucky for him, everything that went wrong is visible. The mistakes he made are clear. When you can identify your mistakes, you are halfway with the answers.
Okay.
He knows the way he came was poor. There was poor organization. He knows he didn't live up to expectation. But lucky for him, the constituency is still there. It hasn't been grabbed by anybody. But there are people, even the newspaper headline for today, I think the Star, people are competing for the Gen Z vote.
Yes.
So it is still there. But for how long is the question Matiangi must ask himself. He was their preferred candidate. They had nobody else in mind. It was Matiangi and Matiangi and Matiangi. For the Gen Z, number one was Matiangi. Number two was Matiangi. Number three?
Matiangi.
You can see how he squandered an opportunity. But it's not too late because that constituency, for lack of a better word, it is still up for grabs. But there's a danger that young people organizing around people like Sifuna, Babu Wino, and Kaleba Misi, Mshomba, and others are going to, these ones are bold, others are still fearing. That force, they are calling the same Kenya what?
Kenya Moja.
Kenya Moja. Could easily appeal to the Gen Zs.
And run away with the vote.
And wherever they go is where the Gen Zs will go. So for Matiangi again, this is another opportunity to make sure he does not wait too long for this important, critical constituency called Gen Z to be pulled from under his feet. Yeah.
But it's never too late, of course. Where did the rain start beating Dr. Fred Matiangi with relevance to his presidential ambitions? That is a question that we've just answered here with Professor Herman Manyora. Ladies and gentlemen, you can weigh in and tell us what you think. If at all you're watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel here. And if you have got any company outside there you'd like to partner with us and advertise with us, be free to reach us through the contact that is below here. Allow me to stop for now till we have this conversation again. Have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.
Thank you.